Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's Pita here today, and in today's video, I'm giving you guys some pro tips and tricks on how to play Bull in Brawl Stars. This video is a continuation of a series where I give you guys guides on how to play each brawler in Brawl Stars, so make sure you check out the other videos as well. Bull is the third brawler you can unlock from the trophy road at 250 trophies. He is a heavyweight brawler that has 3 ammo slots and does the most amount of damage when right next to an enemy brawler. This makes him similar to Shelly in that they both do the most amount of damage up close. If you haven't watched my Shelly guide yet, it's a little shorter, but make sure to go check that out as well. For Bull's super, he charges in a straight line, hitting any enemy brawlers that cross his path. For Bull's star powers, his first one, Berserker, doubles Bull's reload speed when he falls below 40% health. His second one, Tough Guy, Bull activates a shield around him, causing him to take 30% less damage. For Bull's gadget, T-Bone Injector, he instantly heals 1,500 HP, and it can be used 3 times per match. My first tip that I have for Bull is when trying to attack an enemy brawler, get as close as you can to them. Getting as close as you can allows you to do more damage and have the possibility to do up to 8,400 damage with 3 shots. His super can help in doing this because it helps you charge right next to an enemy brawler when aimed correctly, and it stuns them, allowing you to do even more damage, which leads me into my next point. The next tip I have is to use his super in one of 2 ways. The first one is to use his super to charge an enemy brawler, Ike turret, or enemy team safe. For this way, make sure you are close to or full HP, otherwise using your super will pretty much be a waste, as you'll most likely die while charging. The second way I would recommend using Bull's super is to run away from an enemy brawler when low on HP. The only time I would mainly recommend doing this is in Showdown, because in any other modes, you respawn and you'll pretty much be wasting it. My third tip is if there's an enemy brawler just poking at you and slowly chipping down your health, like Crow for example, it's best to rush him because of his low DPS, and as long as there aren't other enemy brawlers near. So, if you rush the Crow, he's going to try and kill you, and for him to do that in a smaller amount of time, he'll have to get somewhat close, allowing you to be able to shoot him. This method is a lot better than trying to heal behind a wall doing nothing. My last tip is to almost always auto-aim your shots. Auto-aiming your shots ensures you hit the enemy brawler if they are within your range. The only times I wouldn't auto-aim shots would be either in Heist or Showdown. In Heist, if you're trying to kill an enemy brawler, but you're also close to the enemy team's safe, you're going to want to aim your shots because there is the chance that you can shoot the enemy team's safe instead of the enemy brawler. In Showdown, it's practically the same thing, except the enemy team's safe is replaced with a power cube box. An additional tip before we get into the different game modes is for Bull's gadget. For Bull's gadget, make sure to use it only when below 25% health or lower and in combat. Alright, now I'm going to move on to how to use Bull in each mode in Brawl Stars. Starting it off, we have Gem Grab. For Gem Grab, typically you're going to want to try and take the lane, so you can get on the sides of the enemy team and either force them to take the other side where they can get pinched, or force them back to their spawn where they'll have to fight their way back to gain control of the middle of the map. Make sure to use walls to your advantage in that you'll want to stay behind a wall so that you can destroy an enemy brawler if they choose to get close. As for which star power to use, I recommend using Tough Guy because then you basically have more health than you have. For using his gadget, like I said before, use it only when you are below 25% health and in combat. This way you can get the most use out of his gadget. Second, we have Showdown. At the beginning of a Showdown match, you're going to want to get as many boxes as possible while there aren't any enemy brawlers around. With Bull being a short-ranged brawler, there are many brawlers that can pick him off because they have a significantly longer range than him, so you're going to want to be careful. However, if you rush the box, Bull's presence can sometimes push enemy brawlers away. After the boxes are gone, always use bushes when in a good position away from the storm. Never push towards the middle of the map too early, and stay on the outside of the map. For staying on the outside of the map, you can ride the storm. What you do when riding the storm is you basically follow the storm as it slowly encloses the map. Like I said before, if a crow is poking at you, it's best to rush him because of his low DPS. Also, do not engage in fights where the enemy brawler outranges you. Engaging in those fights make you an easy target to be picked off. For what star power to use, I would again use Tough Guy because you basically then have more health and that makes it easier to survive longer. For the gadget, same as before, use it only when you are 25% health or below and in combat. Next, we have Bounty. Depending on what map it is, Bull can be a decent option. For the maps that Bull is alright on, you're going to want to have a similar play style to Gem Grab. You're going to want to take one of the lanes and force the enemy team back and towards the middle. If you get caught in a sticky situation, go behind a wall, and then as long as the enemy team doesn't have a thrower, you can make them push you, allowing Bull to thrive because you're in close range combat. For Bounty Star Power, you could use either one because both are good at certain times. However, my personal preference would be Tough Guy again. The main reason is because in Bounty, you're supposed to value your life over getting a kill, and Tough Guy helps with that. Berserker, on the other hand, can tempt you into going for the kill. Again, use Bull's gadget like you would normally, when you're below 25% health and in combat. For the next mode, we have Heist. If you're looking to push Bull to a high amount of trophies, Heist is arguably Bull's best mode. For Heist as Bull, you're going to want to be the main damage dealer for your team to the enemy team's safe. At the beginning, you're going to want to maneuver your way to the enemy team's safe and crank out that damage. Make sure that when you're on the safe, and this goes for any brawler in general, is to value your life over doing damage. In the short term, doing that little bit of extra damage may be beneficial, but over the course of the entire game, it'll help you a lot more. The reasoning behind this is that when you're alive as Bull, the enemy team has to worry about you and occupy their time by trying to kill you instead of dealing damage to your team's safe, if that makes any sense. Basically, by staying alive, you distract the enemy brawlers, allowing your team to recover and deal damage to their safe. As for which star power, you could use either depending on personal preference, but for Heist, I would probably use Berserker. With Berserker, if you can get onto the enemy team's safe with Berserker activated, you can crank out so much damage, making a detrimental impact on how the rest of the game unfolds. For the gadget, you're going to want to continue to use it as you have in the past, which is using it only when at or below 25% health and you're in combat. For the final mode, we have Siege. Bull isn't typically a great siege brawler because of how close he has to be to enemy brawlers in order to deal a significant amount of damage, but if you are going to play Bull, I would probably let your teammates go for the first bolt, and try to take control of the other side of the map. By doing this, you gain a lot more control over the map, allowing your team to collect more bolts and eventually get more siege bots. When defending against an enemy siege bot, you're going to want to get up to the bot as soon as possible and deal as much damage as you can to it in order to destroy the bot faster. When attacking with a siege bot, you're most likely going to want to go on the opposite side to which the siege bot is attacking, so you can pinch the enemy brawlers in a way. For the star power, I would probably use Tough Guy again, because you have that extra health to try and secure those bolts that are very important to winning in Siege. Last time, for his gadget, I would use it only when you are 25% health or below and you're in combat with an enemy brawler. Some reminders for when playing Bull is to take the lane majority of the time in order to push the enemy brawlers towards the middle. Also, make sure to auto-aim your shots almost every time to make sure you hit the enemy as much as you can. Lastly, and I've said this many times, is to only use Bull's gadget when at 25% health or below and in combat, because otherwise there's really no purpose in using it. Alright, that pretty much wraps it up for this video. Make sure to hit that like and sub button, and I'll see you guys in the next one.